growing up in an abusive home with abusive father, always abusing your mom, it take a toll on you.
If you think about being a child or a teenager and you're witnessing this repeated abuse and you feel a responsibility to step in and stop it, well, what comes along with that is it is a no-win situation. How did he cope? At age 6 or 7, he started inhaling gasoline fumes. We're not talking about an adolescent who just fell into this with friends at school. We're talking about a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old child who started to inhale gasoline. Why? Well, that was his way of coping with an uncontrollable environment and the chaos that was going on in his head from almost certainly a behavioral disorder that was evolving.
I didn't know that he was inhaling gasoline out the tank, but then I could smell it on them when they got in the house. And I watched them and I see what they were doing.
We was young. I mean, I knew I was a small child, but I remember him taking the cap off and he was sniffing the top of it. And he did it for so long to where he actually passed out. But that time there, my mom didn't witness it. But after he did it, you know, me and Patrick making sure he was okay or whatever, when he came through, he was trying to influence us to do it, which I did one time, sniff it, but the fume that went in my nose, it hurt, and I didn't never try it no more. So I used to wonder, how can you sniff it long enough to pass out?
We know, and there's a vast literature to show, that huffing inhalants, whether it be gasoline, whether it be what used to become like tool from model glue or things like that, has neurotoxic effects. Okay, there are direct neurotoxic effects on the brain, and when a person is actively inhaling, that impact can be seen in cognitive measures such as attention and processing speed and memory and complex reasoning. In this particular case, you have somebody who almost certainly was trying to escape the chaos of what was going on in their life, and possibly a kind of a percolating behavioral health disorder that was contributing to the chaos. So you had this child, you didn't have a teenager, you had a child who started to do this to escape how horrible life was, to the point they would sometimes find him passed out next to the gas can or to the car, you know, with the fuel entry to the car where he was inhaling. So that is going to disturb psychological development as well, in addition to it happening during important neurodevelopment times.
He'd be in another world, like he'll just drift off, and then I'll be like, Jeff. He'll be like, huh? Like his mind tend to go in calm.
Inhalant abuse by somebody who's 23, who starts at 23 or 30, is very different than if you start when you're a child, when you're 8 or 10, because you are still going through critical developmental periods of brain growth. And in those cases, you do risk the possibility that you may damage or disrupt important developmental pathway or developmental trajectories that aren't necessarily going to recover later on if you stop that inhalant abuse. Then you have to extend it to the next thing of saying, why is an 8-year-old, okay, inhaling? And in this case, this was not just an experimental thing that went bad. For an 8-year-old to start using a substance like that, whether it's an inhalant or something else, that in itself is telling you there's something very, very disturbed going on in their life.